I am going to pull E0 as one Cipher on my main account. Funnily enough, when her V5 dropped, I made a video on how Cipher is an easy skip. That is still true from a meta perspective. In this video, I'm first going to explain why Cipher is a luxury pull. Then I'll go into why I want her on my main account. So let's begin. In her V4, Cipher was looking to be extremely strong. In V5, her final beta version, they nerfed her really hard. She then became only a decent unit in many teams and not best in slot in any except in some Feixiao, Acheron and Dr. Ratio teams, depending on the investment you already have. Especially for Dr. Ratio, she seems to be undoubtedly best in slot. So if you are a Dr. Ratio main, or if you have E0 Feixiao and want to make her team better, Cipher could be a good pull meta-wise. Like I mentioned also perhaps sometimes in E0 Acheron teams. But it really depends, and Silver Wolf is looking to be great for her as well. So you would have to do some more research. However, I've seen a lot of showcases recently in different teams. Noticeably Archer and Castoris teams, in which Cipher is very decent. Someone did a comparison between Castoris, Tribi, RMC and Hyacinth, and the same team with Cipher instead of RMC with all characters, except for RMC at E0. And everyone on free-to-play Litecoins against multiple MOCs, and Cipher was slightly better. Of course, this is comparing a limited 5-star with a free 4-star. But we all know how strong RMC is. Especially for Castoris, they are considered the best in slot unit. Another downside to pulling Cipher, however, is how strong the buffed Silver Wolf is in her current V1 state. Cipher and Silver Wolf overlap in the role of damage amplification through debuffing. Currently, buffed Silver Wolf grants more damage amplification than Cipher, making it so that your DPS will hit harder. This is noticeable in Archer showcases, where most people say that Silver Wolf is better than Cipher because of the insane defense shred you can achieve. However, the situations in which Silver Wolf really outclasses Cipher in such teams is against enemies who aren't weak to the element of your DPS. When Silver Wolf implants a weakness on the enemy which they did not have, they will lose 20% resistance to that element. This, in combination with the insane diff shred Silver Wolf provides, makes it so that her damage amplification is decently ahead of Cipher's. That is even more so if you have other effects which contribute to defense shred or penetration, which are considered the same in the damage formula. However, note that everything above 100% defense shred is completely wasted. There was a showcase a few days ago which replaced Tribi for Silver Wolf in a Castoris team, and Silver Wolf even performed better than Tribi. So, when considering Cipher for a team, he now has direct competition in her role through Silver Wolf. However, this is all without mentioning other parts of Cipher's role. Simply put, Cipher records damage dealt by your team and deals that as true damage when using her ultimate. In most cases, you will want to save that ultimate until the end of a fight and then blow up the last phase of a boss with a massive nuke, making it so that you almost completely skip the last phase of a battle in which bosses often get more aggressive. Next to that, she deals a bit of damage through follow-up attacks and is very skill positive, as she doesn't need to use her skill and easily reaches a lot of speed. Unlike Silver Wolf, her biggest debuff, the 40% vulnerability, is applied to all enemies on field without having to do anything. So you won't have to bother with refreshing her debuff or using skill points to do so. Cipher's Light Cone gives 24% diff shred and will also be applied through her basic attacks and follow-up attacks. So yes, all in all, Silver Wolf will give stronger damage amplification, especially against enemies who don't have a weakness corresponding to your main DPS element. However, Cipher's debuffs are easier. She is very SP positive and deals more damage. So yes, unless you are a Dr. Ratio main, Cipher is definitely a luxury pull meta-wise. She is easily replaceable in most teams, and will not drastically improve them. Next to that, the upcoming patches are stacked. In 3.4 we have Feinen, Archer, and Saber. Triby and Sunday are also rerunning in that patch. I also would not be shocked if they rerun Silver Wolf along the other buffed units in the second phase. In patch 3.5 we're getting Ceridra, who is going to be a remembrance support character. Until now, every support character, with the exception of the Nihilities, have been very impactful in the meta. Afterwards we're going to get new limited 5 stars Den Hang, who is going to be a sustain. And March 7th, who is going to be a DPS. And of course also Serene, of which we do not know much, but will probably be great because of her role in Honkai 3rd and in the Amphoria's story. My main account can easily clear the endgame because I have an E2 Herta in her best team. And best in slot teams for E0 is 1 Castoris, Fei Xiao and Rappa, with supports being at E1. So I don't have to worry about having to pull the new DPSEs in upcoming versions in order to clear endgame. Next to that, I have 2 other accounts which I play in order to get all the characters. I want to play a decent investment without having to spend an absurd amount of money. However, I'm most excited for Archer. I'll get him E1S1 and am definitely going to main him. I already have Sparkle at E0S0, which was my first limited 5-star and a big part of why I started playing HSR. Next to that, I have Gallagher and Hyacine, who are 2 of his best sustain options. Due to the SP positivity, some people will question why I mention Hyacine. Hyacine can easily activate the new healer relic set without having to spend skill points, and is naturally fast, so she will generate a lot of skill points, and outside of Castoris teams, she does not need to use her skill. For the final slot, Archer's best options are Silver Wolf, Cipher, and Triby. In my case, I don't have Silver Wolf as I started playing in patch 2.0 and Pella was almost always considered better than Silver Wolf at that point because of the AoE. The question if I should go for Cipher or Silver Wolf for Archer has been one, which I have been racking my brain over the last week. If Silver Wolf stays this strong throughout the beta, she would probably be the better pull. However, I have seen a lot of showcases and Cipher does not seem to be far behind. It also seems very satisfying to me to let Archer shoot down the first phase of a boss and let Cipher blow up the second phase. Next to that, Cipher seems to be able to replace supports in many teams, letting me mix and match more whenever I have to. An example I already mentioned is replacing Triby or RMC in a Castoris team with Cipher. So, that is that. After the initial shock of the V5 nerfs, I am again very hyped to get Cipher on my main account. Cipher is still a very easy skip meta-wise if you plan on getting other characters, which are releasing or rerunning soon, so don't get FOMO'd by early access videos. However, if you really like this Sly Cat girl, you will definitely be able to use her in a lot of teams. That's it for today. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.